TikTok compilation that might wake you up and change your reality. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
I don't know how we're not hearing about this more, because I just found out today that Brazil is facing one of their worst floods in their history right now, and I didn't even know about it. I mean, just look at this before and after, and just pay attention to the massive gap between the bridge and the water level. And now, look at that. Not only has the water level surpassed the bridge, but the surrounding areas are completely underwater. Just pause for a second and look at that picture. I've even been seeing videos of entire towns completely underwater, to the point where the only thing you can see is the tops of some buildings. I don't know if it's just me, because I'm looking at all of this every day, but just in the last few weeks alone, Dubai was hit with the heaviest rainfall since their records began. The US had more than 300 tornadoes in April, which is more than double the average, and the second highest on record. More than 220 people died in Kenya's floods last week.
Wow.
China just issued a once-in-a-century flood warning. Oh, and had hail the size of freaking grapefruits. Peru was just hit with the first cyclone in over 40 years, and Pakistan just had their wettest April in over 60 years. Oh, then of course, now we have Brazil. And those are all just the ones I've heard of.
This is brutal, man. How aren't we talking about it? Anyone from Brazil here? Please leave a comment.
Have you ever seen someone with dead eyes? Like, this is what Robert Greene has to say about it.
And as I said to you, I don't know if we were on air or not, but deep narcissists have dead eyes. They almost can't help it. They can fake the smile, they can fake everything else, but the eyes, you have to be able to read it, because you say, well, what are dead eyes? You'll know it when you see it. There's no life in them. They're like looking through you. They're not looking at you. They're looking through you. What can I get of you? You're what they call a self-object. They're an object for you to use. And that's how they're looking at you, like they would look at a hammer or something.
It's wild because, like he was saying, you can fake the smile, you can fake the personality, you can fake everything, but you can't fake eyes. Anytime I think of dead eyes, I think of this guy.
I've hated. You kind of caught me off guard here, okay?
Certainly. Well, if you like to...
You got to get this now. Hey, you listening to me? My wife thinks Inside Edition is...
Oh, look at this.
Now, thank you, Lord. Help me. Let me pray this thing.
Well, let me just ask you a really simple question. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
Whoa, calm down
We
there.
wrestle not with flesh and blood.
But I think I want to do a deep dive into dead eyes, so give me your guys' suggestion of who else has dead eyes.
I always think of dead eyes as being the eye of the people who's been tormented. The light in their eyes dies. Look at Amanda Bynes' eyes. Remember the lights she used to have? Now there is nothing.
If you have been wondering what the hell is going on between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, I got you. I'm gonna break it down for you in like a couple minutes. In 2011, Drake drops his probably best album, Take Care. He has a feature with Kendrick on that album titled Buried Alive. But at the time, Kendrick was very up and coming and Drake was on his second album. In 2012, Drake would go on to ask Kendrick and A$AP Rocky, who he now also has beef with, to be his opening acts on tour. In 2013, Kendrick is featured on the song Control with Big Sean, where he calls out a lot of the big names in rap and pretty much says, hey, I got a lot of love for y'all, but I'm trying to unalive y'all. And Drake and Big Sean were two of the names that he calls out. Later that year, Kendrick comes for Drake again at the BET Awards Cypher, where he says, nothing's been the same since they dropped Control, and tucked a sensitive rapper back into his pajama clothes, and then also calls Drake a fake. In October 2023, Drake and J. Cole link up for the song called First Shooter. In J. Cole's verse, J. Cole says, I love when they argue who's the hardest MC. Is it K. Dot? Is it Aubrey? Or is it me? And if you didn't know, K. Dot was Kendrick Lamar's original stage name before he was Kendrick Lamar. J. Cole also says, we the big three, like we started the league. In March of this year, Kendrick is featured on a song called Like That with Future and Metro Boomin, where he says, MFing big three, it's just me. Basically saying, big three who? In April, Drake would go on to release his first diss track called Push Ups. In the song, he basically clowns Kendrick for being 5'5". He also brings up Lamar's previous record label, Top Dog, saying, "Top Dog told you drop and give me 50 like it's push-ups," but what he's referring to is like 50% of all of his earnings go to the label. Drake drops another diss track called Tailor Made Freestyle. In the song, he suggests that Kendrick is likely waiting for Taylor's new album to drop so that he could then drop his diss track. Now, if y'all remember, Kendrick's first #1 was actually featuring on Taylor Swift's Bad Blood, and Drake suggests that Taylor is basically Kendrick's new top dog. Kendrick hits back with the song called Euphoria. In it, he calls out Drake's alleged plastic surgery. He comes for Drake's skin color, asking how many more black features do you need to feel black enough? And he also calls out Drake and his label, saying that they submitted a cease and desist to try to get the song like that Kendrick originally made off the radio. Just yesterday, Kendrick then drops a response. In the song, he asked Drake if he's ever considered that someone on Drake's label OVO is working for him. And he also calls out Drake for paying to get info on Kendrick. The same day, Drake comes out with the song called Family Matters. He calls out Kendrick for being a fake activist. He also questions why Kendrick would call him out on his skin color when his long-term partner is a mixed queen. And Drake is mixed too. He also alleges that Kendrick has hit his partner, asking, when you hit a girl, is it self-defense because she's taller than you? Saying that Kendrick had to hire a crisis management team after finding out about her infidelity and hitting her. And literally just minutes later, Kendrick responds with a song called Meet the Grams, where he does 4 different verses. One is addressed to Adonis, Drake's son. One is addressed to Sandra, Drake's mom. One is addressed to Drake. And another verse is addressed to this baby girl who is 11 years old, who is allegedly also Drake's daughter, who he never sees, has never spoken publicly about. He calls out Drake for allegedly having offenders of the Nicki Minaj's husband type on payroll. It is brutal. He calls Drake a deadbeat, an alcoholic, a user of substances. He tells Adonis, don't cut corners like your daddy did, F-O-Zempic. And in addressing that daughter that Drake has never spoken about, he says that instead of being with her on her 11th birthday, Drake is out in Turks and Caicos paying for physical activity with women. Oh, and he also calls out Drake for hiding other children besides those 2. And that is all the beef we have so far. I'm here for it. I can't wait to see what comes next. But also, can we just talk about how every time Drake gets into beef with someone, he gains another love child?
I know you've been seeing all over the news about this too. Just in case if you're interested, this girl summed it up beautifully. So you know what's going on.
Be honest with you guys, as an attorney, the reactions I'm seeing to the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef, absolutely wild to me. Absolutely boggles the mind. I can't even fathom it. All right, are you listening? Are you actually paying attention to what Kendrick is saying here? This isn't Biggie saying this isn't Nas accusing Jay-Z of doing Tybo. All right, these are serious, credible allegations that Aubrey Graham is routinely committing some of the most heinous crimes the human mind can even conceive of against children. And you're dancing to it. You're laughing about it. The question isn't how is Drake going to recover from this? The question is how is Drake going to keep his BBL from sitting in a federal penitentiary for the rest of his life? Okay? These are violations of international laws. These are the type of allegations that get you visited by some very grim looking men who have stared into the abyss and know where you hide things there. And I know because I've worked with them. And the fact that Kendrick hated Drake for years and had evidence that he was doing this and sat on it until he was pushed to release it implies an industry-wide conspiracy to protect Drake, to allow him to continue to commit these crimes and to victimize others because he is an industry leader, because he is a cash cow. People are saying, oh, this is a distraction from other things that are bigger. This is huge. And the fact that Kendrick made a catchy song about it is distracting you all from how big this actually is.
Either Drake is going to do time or Kendrick is getting sued. Or, the most likely case, nothing happens and they both just make more money.
So if you didn't know, this woman's name is Brianna Williams, and what you just watched was her reaction to finding out that the police had discovered her sinister secret. So back in early November of 2019, Brianna contacts the police in order to report her 5-year-old daughter, Taylor Williams, missing, stating that she had seen her the night before, but in the morning she was gone. Taylor's disappearance sent shockwaves through the community, and people quickly began looking for her, but she was nowhere to be found. However, weeks into the investigation, doubts begin to surface as detectives realize Brianna's story just doesn't make sense. Then, all of a sudden, Taylor's remains are found 400 miles away from her house, with investigators ruling that her cause of death was starvation,
Oh my
meaning
God.
Brianna had unalived her. At this
That's
point,
crazy.
Brianna knows that the police had figured out what she had done, so she tries to unalive herself, but this fails and she gets arrested. In court, Brianna is found guilty of Taylor's death and is sentenced to a well-deserved life in prison. Brianna's story shows that you cannot escape justice and that karma will always catch up to you.
Oh my God. So many stories I hear of kids being unalived by their own parents, the ones that's supposed to look after them. God, please protect those kids.
The list for the animals that kill the most people each year. Coming in at number 10, pigs. They kill 82 people a year.
What? Who the pig,
You gotta
bro?
be real slow to get ate by a pig.
Number 9, a deer. 130 people a year. At number 8, a buffalo. 200 people a year.
I don't think I've ever seen a buffalo.
You don't want to. Apparently, they kill people.
Number 7, a lion. 250 people.
Like, who like puts themselves in the position to get killed by a lion?
Number 6, cats. 500 people.
Get the here.
All right, coming at number 5, crocodiles with 1,000 people.
I can see that. Especially with you white folk, you know, y'all love them crocodiles, man.
Yo, you ever see those shows, man, where that dude's like, oh, I'm gonna put my in this crocodile's mouth? It's like, why? Why are you doing that?
Number 4, scorpions. 3,250 people a year.
Oh, yeah, in the desert, 100%.
At number 3, dogs.
Dogs.
30,000 people a year.
Yeah, that, I feel like that I would hear that, like, yo, so-and-so just got killed by a dog at some point in my life.
like-
and I went through my whole life and never heard of one person get killed by a
Who's
dog.
doing this survey is what I want.
Coming
That's
in
right.
number 2, snakes. 50,000 people a year.
People play with snakes all the time. Bro.
White people play with snakes.
I've seen some black people play with snakes, bro. Pause.
Coming in at number 1, mosquitoes. 1 million people per year.
That's a good one, though.
There you
That
go.
is-
I believe
it makes
that.
sense, though. It makes sense.
But cats? Come on, man. I have 4 kids. Hey, you know what? But pigs will anything. That's why a farmer would tell you to not go into a pig pen alone. And we have wild boar here in Indonesia. You know, the cousin of the pig. Those things are bees. They have husks, and they will aim them at your neck if they want to attack you. It's wild.
What in the world is going on in Ashgabat, Turkmenistan? I mean, not only do they have all of this craziness going on, but there's also a giant crater that's always on fire. That kind of reminds me of the craters I've talked about in my other videos, if you catch my drift. But this isn't the craziest part. No. The craziest part about all this, even though they have things that look like Lucifer's torch and the egg of Ishtar and a giant plunger, the craziest part is this place is completely empty. And when I'm talking empty, I mean empty. You would be lucky to see one person or one car driving around in this insane city that's mostly made of white marble. The city that has another thing that looks like Lucifer's torch. Just look at this place. Literally the craziest looking city I've ever seen. I mean, if this place doesn't give you major Antichrist vibes, I don't know what does. This is their former president who's wearing a cape and statues with shields of lions on them. You know, who's talked about as coming back as a lion, right? I'm not even done yet. There's more. I haven't even talked about these crazy ruins in Ashgabat. These ruins that look like they came from a
Wow.
prior civilization that probably had much better technology than we are led to believe. Technology that I'm willing to guess exists in this city if they're able to offer free gas and electricity. Could it be that they're able to offer free electricity because their city literally looks like a motherboard computer? That's the city. That's the city, and I'll show you.
Well, look at that.
Just back up, and you will see that crazy city sitting right in the heart of Turkmenistan. Man, and I thought Asatana, Kazakhstan was strange. This place takes the cake, though. I don't know what's going on here, but it's not nothing. I'll tell you that much. And just to clarify, all of this was just my opinion. It's just for educational purposes. It's just for entertainment. I'm sure this is a normal, totally fine city with nothing weird going on whatsoever.
We all could have free electricity. It's the biggest scam ever. And if you notice from Google Earth, they all have light blue roofs.
Why is she doing that, Ted?
Raises, bro.
We're all doing it.
Yeah, bro. Raises can't burn through the colour blue.
We better hurry up and get that on there.
I painted ours, bro.
I think they're doing it because of what happened to the Maui fire. There was clear laser satellite weapon system that cannot burn the blue roofs. What do you think?
This is my advice for people who already have blockages in arteries and would like to take care of them. Hello, I am Christian Drupa. I'm a stem cell scientist and herbalist, and I help people live longer, better lives. Let me start by saying that while I'm a stem cell scientist, I am not a cardiologist and I'm not a physician, so I don't have clinical experience treating people. But I do have a personal experience with that question about almost 30 years ago. My dad had a heart attack, and it was caused by the very typical cases of buildup in arteries, blockage of arteries, and ischemic heart disease, heart attack. So they went with an angiogram, they saw the blockages, angioplasty, they removed the blockages. We went from like 85% blockages to 15% blockage, and one was sent back home. About 6 weeks later, he had a feeling of heartburns, and he was afraid that it was another heart attack. So he went to the hospital. They did an angiogram, and they looked, and what they told him is that, well, we cannot see where we did the angioplasty before. When they put him on a test on EKG, the conclusion is that his heart looked completely normal. They could not see traces of what he had had 6 weeks before, and that was 30 years ago, and my dad today is 88, and he's doing just fine. So, and what I did with him at that time, it was not really present on the marketplace, but I was already developing products at the time, and I had access to lipase. At the time, lipase which is an enzyme that digests lipids, was only available in old digestive formula. I wanted pure lipase. So I got this, I encapsulated this by hand, I gave that to him, and I told him to take this away from meal, like on a complete empty stomach, meaning that the capsule will leave the stomach still as a capsule, will open in intestines, and then the lipase can cross into the blood, be absorbed, and increase, if you want, the lipolytic activity of the plasma. And then you can start to digest fat deposits in arteries. It was just an idea, but it gave us the results that we have seen. Now lipase is available in the marketplace. You can get it. I am not saying it's going to work for everybody, but it's definitely something that I would try. Take lipase in the morning on an empty stomach. You can do it more than twice a day, but on an empty stomach to make sure that it has its effect in the blood. Go and digest lipid deposits in your cardiovascular system.
Isn't too much lipase bad for the pancreas and possibility cause pancreatitis? I don't know if I said that right, but I hear Kenyan paper does the same thing.
This is new video to CNN. This is coming out of Howley, Texas. Look at the moment that this twister, this is a condensation funnel, the bottom part of the tornado, but watch how it destroys and picks up debris and throws it across the ground several hundred yards away from the apparent tornado. So this twister is violent, extremely dangerous, and you can just see the brute power and force out of this particular tornado that touched down in Howley, Texas.
This was 5 days ago. Anyone from Texas want to share something?
We learn about this covenant of God. What blood? The blood of this covenant, glory to God. Cut the covenant with his Father God. Glory. Yes, like Moses of old. There's they're coming one. Oh! Don't ever do it. Don't ever feel sorry for yourself. Don't ever do it. Absolutely stunning. Delicious. It's so good. And he will be like Moses, and he'll live 120 years and say, yeah. Preach it, brother, preach it, brother, preach it. Just before the cross. And we have a healing covenant. Dwells in me, the pure, spotless blood of God. And hesed was performed for me. He's my blood brother, and my father is my friend.
No way that's his voice. It changed like 6 times, and his eyes. Wow. You know, my mother used to watch him all the time when I was a kid. He's not used to be like this back in the day.
Okay, so this is part 2 of exposing grocery stores. So as I showed y'all before, what we do is called reworking. So we taking out the moldy stuff in here, throwing it away, and then putting it,
No.
saving some of it in here, or it go back on the floor. So, you know,
That's not true.
I have stuff like this, nasty, moldy, throw it away, and then the rest, sometimes we put it on the floor, or we put it in this, and this becomes this. Cut up, sold for way more money.
How did that never compute in my mind? Bro, no wonder they sell these. It's the leftover fruit. The old fruit. Oh my God, guys, like we gotta do something about this. Like what I thought, right? When I would see these boxes, I was like, oh, they want to give you a bundle with all types of fruits in one box. But that was never the case, bro. It's just old fruit. Oh my God. Bro, they psyoped us. And if you think about it, the fruit still technically has mold. Like it has mold, but you can't see it. Man, guys, this is crazy.
If you don't know, now you know. And I always wonder how they keep the fruit and veggies looking so nice, and as soon as I get them home, they go bad.
2 huge reasons why I believe there is nothing to fear when it comes to death. Reason number 1 is going to appeal to a more scientific-based analytical person. And reason number 2 is going to appeal to the more spiritual person. But they're both great reasons, and they both make me not fear death. Number 1, and I saw this so significantly when becoming a hospice nurse. I didn't totally see it when I was an ICU nurse, but then after like the first year becoming a hospice nurse, to truly see how the body biologically helps us at the end of life was mind-blowing to me and totally made me not fear death, because biologically our body is built to live, built to survive birth, and built to help us die. And I saw that firsthand, and I still see that firsthand as a hospice nurse. So let me explain. I've said this before in other videos, but I'm just gonna keep reiterating it so everyone can hear it over and over again. Our bodies are biologically built to die. When the body knows that it's getting towards the end of life, especially on hospice when you're dying a natural death, you're dying from something, but you're allowing the natural progression to happen. Mechanisms kick in that are built into the body to help us die. Example 1, our calcium levels go up. When your calcium levels go up, you start sleeping more. So your body just sleeps and sleeps and sleeps and sleeps, which is nice. People always say, I want to just fall asleep and die. That is kind of what can gradually happen. Also, your body knows that it's shutting down. It's getting near the end. So it'll slowly start kicking in the mechanisms to shut off the feeling of hunger and the feeling of thirst. And you will start not eating and drinking more and more. So this gradual thing happens where you are sleeping a lot more, eating and drinking a lot less, sleeping a lot more, eating and drinking a lot less. And the body is doing that all for us. And when that starts happening, your body will eventually kick into ketosis, which releases endorphins, which makes you feel good and dulls pain. So the body does this all naturally without us doing anything. as medical professionals. And to watch that as a medical professional firsthand, see it over and over again, it is fascinating and it is comforting. Reason number 2, again, like I said, is going to appeal more to people who have faith or a faith in the afterlife, spirituality, religion. It'll appeal more to that group, but it's still a fascinating story and I love it. And it's one of the huge reasons why I don't fear death, hence why I talk about it all the time. I used to be so afraid to tell these stories because they sound so crazy, but then people will ask me why I don't fear death, and this is a really big reason why. So like I've said before in a million other of my videos, there are some medical phenomena that happen at the end of life that we can't explain that do also comfort me, like the visioning, death stare, the death reach, all of those things that I've witnessed are also comforting. But the big reason is something that I experienced with a patient. That's one of my favorite stories, and it's the main reason why I don't fear death. So here's that story. I had a patient come onto hospice. He was young. We got close, not just me and him, but him and the whole hospice team. We really helped him. He ended up living a lot longer on hospice. He didn't have tons of friends and family, so we were like his friends and family, the whole team. And we really helped him with a lot of struggles with mental health and physical health, obviously, because he was on hospice. So we all got really close to him. Him and I would have tons of existential conversations just because we both like talking about it, about what happened at the end of life.
I don't fear death. I'm in Christ Jesus. But I genuinely worry the effect of my death would have on my loved ones.
Apparently, the Earth is larger than we thought. For decades, there has been a debate about the Earth shape, whether it is round or flat. All of this could be conspiracy. But what if the Earth had more than 7 continents? Since the Middle Ages and the emergence of the first map of the Earth, humanity has always believed that the Earth contained 7 continents. However, governments could very well be hiding the truth from us. What if Antarctica is simply a giant ice wall that prevents us from seeing the rest of the continents? And what if, once you pass through the ice barrier, you discover the 20 continents that are actually hidden from us? What if there exists a map that shows them? There are theories that suggest these continents harbor prehistoric animals, extraterrestrials, and an advanced civilization, and that the 7 continents we inhabit are actually just a massive farm or business owned by a small group of creatures who are obscene, rich in the real work or in the other hidden continents.
Why would they hide flat Earth from anyone? What would be the consequences of knowing the truth? I'd love to hear your take. Please drop a comment.
Scientists have discovered a gigantic ocean 700 kilometers beneath the Earth's surface. You understand what that means? That means they went down 430 miles in the ocean and found another ocean. That means this whole Agartha shit may just be real, because how you found an ocean inside the ocean? And they said on top of that, this new ocean they found, you can take all 3 of our oceans, Atlantic, Pacific, and fit it all in there. I'm still trying to figure out, so you go underneath the water, somehow you get to the bottom, and then the water ends and they find another ocean? That's what I'm trying to get, is like, further, how'd they even discover that? How do you go 430 miles down underneath the surface in the first place to then find another ocean? So that means, does the water stop at some point?
Just listen to her break this shit down and tell me you're not mind blown.
Ocean under the Earth's surface. A massive one at that. Sounds staggering, right?
What?
Let me tell you all about it. The discovery
Please
has
tell
been
me.
made some 700 kilometers deep into the Earth. The ocean lies just above the lower mantle in something called the mantle transition zone. The water is present in a rock known as ringwoodite. And do you know how big this ocean is? About 3 times the volume of all the planet's oceans combined.
My bad, 3 times the size of all the oceans combined.
3 times?
And think about how much we've explored the oceans today, 5%. And we have an ocean underneath the Earth 3 times the size of all the oceans? Nah, son, I know nothing about this Earth.
Finding water in water, then saying it's different water is wild. Drake and Kendrick are distracting us. If you know, you know.
The saltine cracker test. It's super accurate. You can take a saltine cracker, put it in your mouth. How quickly does it turn from salty to to sweet in your mouth. So for me, it takes about 30 seconds. My brother's girlfriend takes 5 seconds. That means she has more amylase.
This is 100% correct. Eating a cracker can tell you how many carbohydrates you should be consuming per day. It's a gauge of how much salivary amylase you have. Your body releases amylase in the saliva as well as the pancreas to help break down carbohydrates. This genetically tested by measuring the AMY1 gene, actually more prevalent in Asians. You can also measure the amount of time it takes from the cracker to go from salty to sweet. So if it takes you 0 to 14 seconds, you have a very high carb tolerance. You're shooting over 250 grams of carbs per day. If it takes 15 to 30 seconds, moderate carb tolerance, you shoot from 100 to 250 grams of carbohydrates per day. And if it takes north of 30 seconds for that cracker to taste sweet, you should be at or under 100 grams of carbohydrates per day. Now, if you want to figure out the best approach to figure out how to set up these macros, DM the word quiz to me so that way we can get you on a nutrition plan aligned with your carb tolerance.
I've never in my life had a saltine taste sweet at any point of eating it. Are you supposed to chew it or let it just sit there like communion?
Birthmark theory actually goes deeper than you thought. Now, listen carefully, because some scary coincidences come up. You know that the majority of people have a birthmark, right? And you know that the absence of one means it's likely that it's the person's first reincarnation, or it means they had a death by natural causes, or they carry no more trauma due to spiritually evolving. So they say that if you are albino or have like freckles, you might have been burned in a past life, because it's said that fire leaves its mark on the skin forever, possibly meaning that you have fire trauma that you need to deal with. This may seem extreme, but it might explain why, like, different people are scared of different things. And then apparently if you have like a discoloration birthmark, it's the body's way of remembering that you have healed from a fire. You know those marks where it looks like you have vitiligo. There was even a doctor who did a study on 2 to 4-year-old kids. I think his name was Dr. Stevenson, but don't quote me. He chose this age group so their memories wouldn't be clouded by new memories. Not only did they remember their past life, but there were literal autopsies proving who they were. And in some instances, they were recognized by people they had never met.
Let me know how you feel about this. This sounds interesting.
Aspiring doctor who couldn't swim has been left brain dead after his friends pushed him into a lake. And what's worse is that a video of the incident was posted online, and it shows the group of his so-called friends casually looking into the water just moments after one of the girls pushed Christopher off the dock. Reports say that he was drowning for about 10 minutes before he was pulled out, but not by anyone from the group. It took a random customer at a nearby restaurant to come over and save Chris's life. His mother said that by the time he got to the hospital, the 26-year-old medical student was brain dead and the rest of his organs were starting to fail. Police said that the group he was with initially tried to play it off as horseplay, saying they didn't know he couldn't swim. Chris's mother, however, has called for arrests to be made because she believes everyone knew he couldn't swim. Luckily though, his condition is improving and today he was taken off of life support.
Wait, what? He is brain dead with organs starting to fail, but he is recovered and now doing well? How is this possible? Must be a miracle.
Lovely lady is my 10-year-old daughter, who has, for the second time this school year, been kicked off the school bus due to bullying another student. Let me make this extremely clear. Bullying is unacceptable, especially in my household. Friday, when my daughter brought home her paperwork for her bus suspension, she said, "Daddy, you're gonna have to take me to school next week." As you see this morning, she is learning otherwise. A lot of children today feel that the things their parents do for them is a right and not a privilege. So today, my beautiful daughter is going to walk 5 miles to school.
What?
In 36-degree weather. I know a lot of you parents are not going to agree with this, but that is all right, because I'm doing what I feel is right to teach my daughter a lesson and to stop her from bullying.
He deserved an award. Fatherhood is very important to any children in the world. My father died 11 months ago at the age of 93. He's with Jesus now.
Our last interview that, of course, during the major pain, that Damon Wayans came and sought you out personally, and that he became almost a father figure. Do you look at him as a father figure?
I saw a puzzle Karen Parsons brought me a puzzle as a kid on the set. I went to do the puzzle in Damon's trailer, and it started rocking.
What?
High winds?
It was just moving. And when I went to the room that they were in, and they were Damon, I'm sorry. You cheated on your wife. You cheated on Lisa Wayne, the baddest chick. If you look up Lisa Wayans with green eyes, short little chick with the short hair, baddest chick. Baddest chick. You cheated.
Telling this 30 years later when there wasn't even the question is wild. I think he's so traumatized.
Third graders are expected to know this.
Third graders are expected to know this. Okay, so it must be an easy question.
9 is 1/3% of what number?
What?
So how do we rewrite this as an equation? Well,
When she said third graders are expected to know this, do she mean Asian third graders, or that's for everybody?
let's convert the percentage into a fraction.
Oh yeah, no, I don't like fractions.
To convert from 1/3% to a fraction, we take 1/3 and put it over 100.
Wait, I'm confused already. 1/3 over 100.
This simplifies to, so we do the keep, change, flip rule. Keep 1/3, change division into multiplication.
We didn't do this back in my day. What's this, some third grade college prep?
And flip 100, take the reciprocal of it. So it's the same thing as 1/300.
It's hard to follow along. Just who got the answer key?
9 is, that means 9 is equal to 1/3% is 1/300. Of means multiplying one number. So I'll call that number X.
See, this is why I don't like taking tests. See, when in doubt, just choose C.
To solve for X, we would have to divide both sides by 1/300. So
I heard of long division, but this long division and multiplication.
Become 300. 9 times 300 is 2,700. So D is.
I still don't know how you got it. I'm gonna just sit down because my brain hurt. Won't have mercy.
More complicated than it is. It's easy. 9 is 1/3%, so 27 is 1%. So 27 times 100 equal 2,700.
So I'm a travel nurse, and I've been doing a lot of traveling, nursing for a couple of years now. And I took a new contract. I was finishing out my last one, and I took a new one because I make 6 figures. Easy. Because I've got all the experience that I can go into any place and work. And the contract that I took is up north. I just got finished settling everything and transferring and stuff, and everything it's taken a lot of time. But this new place, I don't name places and put them on blast or anything, because I know that people will end up, people, I don't want to get fired or, get DNR'd or whatever. God told me to do this. I always talk to God first. I run everything through God, ask him, pray, and, what he wants me to do, what decision where he wants me to go. And he's not sending me to some of the most ridiculous places, and this place, I'm just gonna come straight out and tell you, this place is filled with demonic activity. I can't even tell you. I've been learning, I've been in nursing and medical field since the early 90s, and I always knew that there was a lot of spiritual stuff going on, good and bad, but this place, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a portal to hell here. I can't get into details, I can't, but the name of Jesus really I just can't even.
That's right.
Even some of the staff that don't even believe, aren't Christians, aren't practicing Christians or whatever, believe that some of these people are straight up possessed and demonic. And the ones that I've had to deal with, I've had to come straight out and handle business and use the name of Jesus, rebuke them. And I'm going to tell you what, they shut right down. When they wouldn't listen to nobody else, when you were cussing people out, threatening, saying the most horrific things, they shut right down. But they don't like me at all. They will go right back to their rooms when I rebuke them. And I'm kind about it, but I'm stern. I know who I am, and I know Jesus, gave us the power to do this.
There you go. Amen.
I've prayed over people, and in the name of Jesus, and they've been healed. I have this one lady is really in bad. When she knows that I'm coming, or she knows that I'm on the floor, they know. It's really weird. They automatically know, and they straight come out of their rooms and come to bother me. Just come, a couple of them come straight out and start cussing me out. Don't even do anything. I'm never unkind.
They know.
I remember, got to be, love of Christ and everything, and compassionate. But I had to shut her down right off the bat. And boy, that woman turned around and go right back to her room, and I rebuked her. The devil. These people are, they're being overtaken, and it's going more. You're going to see more and more of this, and it's becoming predominant, really bad nowadays, because the devil knows he's got a short time, and he's just taking over people. This woman was seeing things, in her coming in her room and everything, and I just said, I'm just going to go there and take. I'm going to, the foul language that's coming out of this, and she's with it. This is the thing that's I notice about these people. A lot of them, they're not like out of their mind. They know where they're at and everything. I finally went to her room, put my hand on the door. I prayed, and I had to go through that whole floor. I did the whole floor because the whole floor was in chaos. Didn't hear another peep from her the rest of the night. And even one of the staff member goes, I can't believe, you just did that and it all stopped. This woman doesn't usually stop.
There is power in the name of Jesus. I've seen it. Please teach more nurses how to do this. She is a miracle worker.
Okay, so that I stay safe and I can come back and I stay alive, I want to tell you something. I will give you a hint to what he showed me. It's going to happen. And you have to get rid of these metals in your body. And I know exactly how to do it very easily. If you want to do it fast and quick, it would be green drinks. There's something with chlorophyll that has to do with, it matches, it's very close to your blood in its structure. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so you have to have a carrier that will grab things and take them out of your body, okay? So if you want to know what's going to happen, and it could happen tomorrow, it could happen, but they're going to say it's something else. You're going to have to do your own thinking about this. I don't want to get in trouble. But just stick a piece of foil in a microwave and picture that in your body. Because you can't see a microwave, but you can see the results of it when it's present. And you know to not put foil in the microwave because you just do it once, and then you have a fireworks show that the neighbors talk about, because frequencies affect different things. And if something is coming that is intentional, if it hits something that stops it, then it starts to heat up because of resistance. If it can't flow through you, then it starts to cook.
Ooh.
And that's what I saw.
Wow.
It's pending. They're going to say it's something else. This is evil. There's all kinds of stuff. They're fighting content on the ground and everywhere. We don't know even how this barium and all this stuff is getting here. It's like dropping out of the sky. It's everywhere. Why all these heavy metals? Where is it coming from? The bottom line is, yeah, I know. Please don't. We know that. But bottom line is, you got to get this out of your body. They've been developing these weapons with frequencies for a long time. So these frequencies that fry electronics, and they're already. I can't say anything. I apologize, but you just go out and look around. Where you live, because it's coming. But if there's nothing in you, so Jesus said that the evil one's coming, but he has nothing in me. So that's what I'm trying to tell you without telling you.
I mean, this is coming too, and I know half of you probably won't believe it. I'm just believing that you will. But the technology is already here. You need to shield your phone at night. You need to turn it off. You need to shield it and get it away from you. What's coming is advertisements through your phone on the wavelength that your brain can receive it. It's already out.
Wow.
I'm just telling you. You wouldn't even, I mean, I can't say it but you got one right down the street. They're already going to do it. They've already announced it, the technology. They're going to advertise through your phone, and you're going to pick it up here.
Root canals, filings, joint replacements, pins, screws, plates, cages, pacemakers, dental implants. All right. And on the last one, about the advertising, that's everything related to Apple software and 5G, etc. If you know, you know.
Breaking news, everyone. The blob has returned just a few hours ago. Now, this one looks like the first one that showed up that was, possibly a glitch. So maybe this one is. However, watch how massive this thing gets. And it goes all the way out till next Monday, as you see here in the size that it grows to. This thing is going to get massive, apparently. However, this one could be like the first one that was a glitch. Now the second, so that one was different, as you see, and then it did this, and then here I showed you where it opened up in the center. That looked like something happened underneath. Maybe something came into there and caused the waves to be like this. But this one definitely kind of seems like the first one that ended up possibly being a glitch or maybe a cover-up. But anyhow, let's look. So we know that it's right here, and we know to look here. And so now if I sit here and I pull here and go right here, you see that there is marine traffic this time that's in the area. So the second one did not have marine traffic in the area, but this one definitely does. So I think this one could be definitely a glitch or maybe a cover up. Let me know in the comments. Take care. God bless.
It seems like whenever something big happens, a blob shows up. We need to name this thing. How about Blob the Blob?
An encounter with the Holy Spirit when I was in jail. I got sentenced 2018. I had to turn myself in before Christmas. My cellmate, Joshua Pardue, man, I'll never forget. I'm watching TV. He like, do you believe in Jesus? I'm like, yeah. For that man to ask me, do I believe in Jesus? That lets me know that God was always thinking about me. Anybody else could have been my cellmate. God, he speaks through people. And in that moment, God reached me through my cellmate. When I went to jail, Jesus wasn't on my mind because I'm honest. I wasn't thinking about no Jesus when I went to jail. You may not be thinking about Jesus, but he think about you.
Ooh.
But God was literally setting me up so I could have an encounter with him. Since the time we were cellmates, he was my pastor. Like, he was ministering to me. He was showing me the love of God. One night, I was on my bunk and I decided to worship. And I'm like, Jesus loves you, for he died on the cross for our sins. He's always with you from beginning to the end. Bundle up in my cover and I start crying. I can't explain why I was sad, but I was just sad. But something hovered over me and stripped my sadness away and filled me with joy.
Holy
and I
Spirit.
was just laughing. I felt like a child. I woke my cellmate up immediately. I'm like, Josh, wake up, wake up, wake up. Man, I was just worshiping, dog. Like, man, I was crying, bro. But something came over me, Josh, and made me happy. All he told me was, that was the Holy Spirit. You just had an encounter with the Holy Spirit.
He will meet you anywhere regardless of what you've done. You just have to answer the call.
30 years living on this never seen no Chinese food commercial.
Wait a second. No. Wait. No.
Have you seen one? Drop a comment, please.
So Ring Doorbell was just sued, and those of you who possess a Ring Doorbell may be receiving part of a large multi-million-dollar settlement. If you didn't know, Ring Doorbell allowed its employees, the federal agents, contractors, and hackers access to customers' private information, y'all.
You have a Ring camera? Well, you may be getting some cash very soon.
It's all part of a multi-million-dollar settlement with the federal government. Fox 35's Marlisa Goldsmith live in our alert center with the details. Marlisa?
Manny and Luann, we're talking a settlement of $5.6 million between Amazon and the Federal Trade Commission. Now, the issue, privacy violations involving the popular cameras. If you are They are one of the most popular smart home devices on the market. Sales of Ring doorbell cameras topped 5 million in 2022. And now, some of those buyers are eligible for a slice of a multi-million-dollar payout.
Wow.
The Federal Trade Commission accused the Amazon-owned company of several violations. First, Ring allowed its employees and contractors to access customers' private videos. Second, the company failed to implement security protections, allowing hackers to take control of consumers' accounts, cameras, and videos. And finally, Ring allegedly used footage from cameras to train algorithms without any consent.
At least there is an indication of wrongdoing.
Security expert David Benson says the settlement actually highlights a bigger problem.
I think it's a step in the right direction, but whether or not there's enough teeth in this to deter it happening again, I'm not so sure. And I think better, proper regulation, as we're hearing all over, whether we're talking about platforms like TikTok or Snapchat, whatever it might be, there has to be some regulation. And right now at the federal level, there is zero regulation.
Ring just agreed to a $5.6 million settlement over those accusations.
That's it.
More than 117,000 Ring users are eligible for a refund of about $47. Ring released a statement saying that hackers stole emails and passwords from other companies to log into accounts of certain customers. Benson says there are things you can do to protect yourself.
People cannot be using the same password over and over again. It'll wind up on the dark web and with catastrophic consequences. So how can you protect yourself? Have two types of authenticity with your logins. Change it periodically and make sure you don't have duplications.
He also has concerns that Ring did not address the allegations of employees and contractors accessing footage without permission.
You just can't use other people's personal data. You have to ask permission. You have to protect it. And whether or not your customer is careless on their end, there's no excuse.
It never ceases to amaze me how they always put out these new type of technologies and people buy into it and they love it and then they purchase it, put it in their home, and then they find out that the government has been listening to them and watching them. And then, when they watch things like this, they're surprised. Oh, they've been watching? Yes, of course. They always want to know what's going on in your home, in your house. The only place you're safe in is your head. And soon enough, Elon Musk is going to find out what's in there.
Right.
Or so he think he is. You ever thought about something like a multi-million-dollar invention and then you see the government comes out with it? What do you think that's about? But yes, Ring Doorbell is being sued. If you are eligible, they said they will send this money to your PayPal. I don't know how they found this out, but obviously you must be connected to it. I don't have a Ring Doorbell, so I would not know. So this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Please like, comment, and share for more videos like this. Keep up on me on my other accounts, especially on my YouTube, where I go deeper on the esoteric level at these topics at hand. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. Let's get this shift. Peace in.
By the time they pay everyone, you probably get $25. Also, our phone cameras and mics are always on.
Well, as you all know, Diddy's time is up.
Diddy's contract and his deal with the devil is up. Satan has turned him over to destruction. God has turned him over to destruction. The fact is, it's Diddy or didn't he do it?
He did
Did
do
what he
it.
did, and now he's getting ready to get what he's getting. See, I don't feel sorry for these celebrities. Whether he killed Tupac or not, I don't know. Whether he paid for that hit, I don't know. What I do know is his deal with the devil is up. His soul sacrificing days are over. Cassidy, all these people that he did wrong, Danity Kane, all of them. He's paying for his deal. He's paying for his debts. The receipt is due for his soul. He sold it. Now Satan is coming to collect. So you got to understand, these celebrities have a certain amount of time to play out their fantasies, to play out their wishes. But one thing about the devil which makes him so smart is that he's an ancient spirit. He's almost 6,000 years old. One thing that I have to get everybody to understand and implore you to search out is the fact that Satan will give you what you want. The thing is, the difference between us and him is that we're temporary. We want temporary things. A lot of us want temporary things. Satan will give you millions of dollars. He'll give you the houses. He'll give you the girls. He'll give you the prominence. He'll give you the fame. But one thing he knows is that everything that he gives you, you're going to have to give it back. He knows that one day you're going to die. One day you're going to get sick. One day you're going to get old. He knows that you can't take it with you. He knows that your little 50 to 60 to 70 years is a small blink of an eye. It's that fast. So he'll give you what you want because he knows you can't keep it. Job chapter 1 verse 21 says, naked we came and naked we shall go. Paul said it is certain that we came into this world with nothing, and it is certain that we can take nothing out. So he knows for a fact, and I'm talking about Satan, that he knows that Diddy will not be able to keep his estate, his empire, his name, and his wealth, and his popularity. Because Satan has allowed him to be humiliated. His time is up. And a lot of other celebrities' time is up. Satan is the great deceiver for a reason. He's deceived them. So Diddy, your time is up. You could run, but you can't hide.
I think Mace probably could tell you some stuff, and that's why he walked away.
I just seen the video, and find out it's definitely universal language. They just threw something down the cave. Number one, the cave already looked like that it was ducked off under a bunch of rocks. Well, I think I just seen a couple fingers. They definitely just woke something up out of sleep. Now they trying to pour salt on it, trying to make it go back down. Nah, buddy, nah. Y'all done sat up here and woke a Jeepers Creepers up out his hibernation. Don't run now. And it look like they struggling trying to close the lid on this tomb or this tunnel or whatever this is. Look at them trying to put the rocks back on. So that means they had to take the rocks off of the tunnel, which means they knew what was in the tunnel. Obviously, they tried to barricade it so nobody can touch it. Yep, this is exactly how hunts and stuff like that happens. Future refs, since y'all asked me to do something like this, I am great. I'm just curious, y'all comment below, how many people would do what they did? Yeah, y'all like a follow for more wisdom and stay tuned.
That's just Doja Cat.
Golf is this thing where 18 times they set you up with a challenge and they put obstacles and hazards in the way, and you have to try to navigate your way safely and try to do as much as you can, but you learn that if you do more than you can't do that, and there will be things that happen. And so all of the things that I like about life in general are on the golf course. I'm saying I drink out here, I smoke out here, I whistle out here, I look at nature, I all the things that really mean something to me. Golf requires you to experience all those beautiful things, but then every shot requires you to block all of that out and just focus on the task at hand. And you don't have the opportunity of doing it again. You're going to do it once, and you're going to live with how that works out. And if you can get that on the golf course, you can translate that everywhere. The fact that you can have 3 magnificent shots in a row that has no bearing on your ability to 3-putt. like you can't afford to be high or low. You have to stay focused, and
that translates all the time.
Every time I see Kate Williams, I feel compelled to listen intently to what he says. How about you?
I told you that there's a really dark history behind the Met Gala, and do keep in mind, this is just part one. Now let me just clarify before I go any further. This is for educational purposes only. And to start part one, we're going to start with Anna Wintour, right? Let's do keep in mind Anna Wintour herself is the editor-in-chief at Vogue, and she actually started the Met Gala to begin with. Now Anna herself is the daughter of Charles Wintour. Now Charles Wintour ran a specific newspaper for Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell, like it says here, is the father of Ghislaine Maxwell. Now let's do keep in mind, Charles Wintour himself was the editor-in-chief at the London Evening Standard. And as you can see, in 1987, Maxwell actually launched the London Daily News. And he originally intended it to be the rival of the Evening Standard. So like it says here, Maxwell eventually decided to make the London Daily News the first 24-hour paper. That 24-hour paper in modern day might be referred to as Vanity Fair. Now let's do keep in mind, Anna Wintour herself is editor of the most profitable magazine in all the vast Condé Nast publishing empire, which includes Vanity Fair and The New Yorker in America, and several other publications over here as well, including Tatler and British Vogue. And under Anna Wintour, Vogue sells 1.2 million copies a month and earns around $100 million a year in advertising revenue. Now, it's been highly rumored that Jeffrey Epstein himself might have paid off Vanity Fair in its early years to supposedly not call him an rapist. I'm sure you could do the spelling for yourself. I don't want to say it out loud because I'll be issued a violation. Oh, but this history goes way deeper. As you can see here, Mr. Samuel Pazar was the lawyer and confidant of Robert Maxwell. And Samuel Pazar was supposedly the last person who saw Robert Maxwell before he died, mysteriously on his yacht in the middle of the Atlantic. That's potentially putting Miss Anna Wintour in control. I'm not confirming anything to be true, but we might want to look into Samuel Pazar's background. Or before we do, we can look into Robert Maxwell's background first, and the fact that the Foreign Office supposedly suspected that Maxwell of being a secret agent of a foreign government, possibly a double agent or a triple agent. He had supposedly known links to the British Secret Intelligence Service, MI6 themselves, to the Soviet KGB, and to the Israeli Intelligence Service Mossad. And 6 serving and former heads of Israeli intelligence services attended Maxwell's funeral in Israel, while the Israeli Prime Minister eulogized him and stated, in quotations, he has done more for Israel than can today be told. Well, that's pretty interesting because there was one individual throughout history that didn't want Israel to have a lot of power, specifically a nuclear weapons program. Did you know that in 1950, Samuel Pazar worked for the United Nations in New York and Paris, and he returned to Washington in 1960 to become a member of none other than JFK's Economic and Foreign Policy Task Force. And he was also an advisor to the State Department, the Senate, and House committees. Oh, and as a lawyer, not just for Robert Maxwell, Pazar's clients included many Fortune 500 companies and many known business leaders of the 20th and 21st century. So Samuel Pazar was big in the business world. But isn't it ironic that RFK and JFK wanted a specific group to register as a foreign agent, something that today they still have yet to do? And while you might notice that that specific group is none other than WHO, and a handful of pro-Israel groups fund political campaigns in support of individual candidates in U.S. elections. They have for quite a while. But they're led by the WHO, a powerful voice in American politics. And supposedly before the 2024 election, WHO plans to spend tens of millions of dollars against congressional candidates, primarily Democrats, whom it deems insufficiently supportive of WHO. And WHO and other pro-Israel lobby groups have recruited and supported challengers to a number of lawmakers and candidates, most notably members of the Squad, the group of progressive representatives who are particularly vocal in their criticism of Israel's offensive in Gaza. So then that brings us to Mr. Anthony Blinken. And I promise in part 2, everything's going to add up for everybody. Because people are probably wondering at this point, well, what does this have to do with the Met Gala? Well, who do you think funds the Met Gala to begin with? Who do you think is funding the fashion industry? Yeah, I'm sure you guessed it by now. But this all brings us to Mr. Anthony Blinken. Can you guess who Mr. Anthony Blinken's top contributor for his last election was? Oh, I'm sure you guessed it. And did you know Mr. Anthony Blinken was a foreign policy advisor for Joe Biden's 2008 presidential campaign, before advising the Obama-Biden presidential transition? And get this right, from 2009 to 2013, Blinken served as a deputy assistant to the president and national security advisor to the vice president. And during his tenure in the Obama administration, he helped craft the U.S. policy on Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the nuclear program of Iran. Sounds like somebody was stirring the pot. But let me ask you a question, right? Do you think Anthony Blinken had a really close relationship with Anna Wintour? I'll let you answer that question for yourself. But it seems to be that what goes around comes right back around, right? And see, supposedly the Met Gala is set up for charities, right? But God, when you look into every single charity foundation, and you look into who owns those charity foundations, where do you think that money goes to? Because God, when you start connecting the dots, you might find a list like this. Not going to claim that this has any relation to those specific charities, but I'm pretty sure you could put 2 and 2 together. And this is a list from U.S. senators from 1990 to 2024 that have received money from who? Now, I just read you off an entire paragraph as to who they were. And as you can see, there's some pretty interesting names on here, right? And there's 2 sides to the same coin, people. And God, lo and behold, Mr. Joe Biden himself is first on this list. And like I just read, Mr. Anthony Blinken himself is very close to Mr. Joe Biden. But see, there's something mysterious about that amount, right? Not even a week before I took that screenshot, right? This was the screenshot, and this was the amount that was available. So God, I wonder where that charity money goes. And God, when you just so happen to look up that specific industry's top contributor, you might find none other than them in first place. And God, that's a lot of money that just mysteriously appeared, right? Wow, that's pretty intriguing, right? Who do you think the top contributor for all of your Democratic House representatives, all of your Republican House representatives, all of your Democratic senators, and all of your Republican senators is? Oh, I think you guessed it. But like I said, this is just part one. And like I also said, this will all come right back around to the Met Gala, just for you to be able to understand. And I only ask you right now, who do you really think is in control? But see, there's always going to be a rival, an opposition, if you will. And that rival of them might start with a V. I'm sure everybody can guess who they are, but we'll really touch upon them on the next video. And I'm sure it's not ironic that some of the known associates of Epstein himself might just so happen to attend the Met Gala every single time it pops up. Yeah, I'm sure that's not a coincidence. But are you putting two and two together now?
This right here is why I love TikTok. There's just no going back. He's helping tie all the pieces together. This is what you call connecting the dot like a boss.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm speeding, wasn't I?
Yeah, you completely blew past that stop sign in front of me.
I'm so sorry. I literally didn't even see it.
No worries.
First time being
Can I see your driver's license registration, please?
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Here's my license, but this is my mom's car, so...
Where are you headed to where you're speeding and missing stop signs?
I was just headed to a friend's house. It's like literally right there. It's a birthday party.
Any drugs or alcohol in the vehicle?
No, of course not.
Alright. Sit tight, Sarah.
Sounds scripted. There you go.
What the?
Sarah?
What the? Sarah? 3201. The dispatch.
Have y'all seen this yet? There is something falling out of the sky in Indonesia, y'all. They said this is Indonesia, but we can't tell what this is. What is that, y'all? It is so hard to decipher what this is. Bro. What? Okay, y'all, I zoomed in, but it's still hard to decipher what this is. That looks like a giant 6, though. It looks like a giant 6, but what? It looks like an eye in the sky. Bro, what is that? What is going on? And you see all those people there. Wow. They did say in the end days that things will start falling out of the sky, y'all, right? The stars in the firmament, right? Look at that. I'm just curious to know what that is, because it looks crazy. Look, what's this string over here? So yeah, y'all, I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of anomalies coming out of the sky right now, y'all. So much is going on in the earth, and people are just not ready. But if anybody knows what that is, please let us know down in the comments below. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during this interesting times. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. Let's get this shift. Peace out.
I'm from Indonesia and I have no clue. What do you think that is?
Bible has officially been banned. According to Bill HR 690, much of the Bible will be illegal, including the crucifixion, which will also most likely be passed by the Senate because of this.
We're here to discuss the little Gazas that have risen up on campuses across America and the liberal college administrators and politicians who refuse to restore law and order and to protect other students. These little Gazas are disgusting cesspools of anti-Semitic hate.
Now, for those of you who didn't know, just this past week, there have been multiple violent protests going on in the Middle East, which is exactly why the government is concerned due to the Bible causing anti-Semitism, in which it has already passed in other places, and there is no doubt that Biden won't be signing this bill.
Cesspools of anti-Semitic hate, full of pro-Hamas sympathizers, fanatics, and freaks. The terrorist sympathizers in these little Gazas aren't peacefully protesting Israel's conduct of the war. They're violently and illegally demanding death for Israel.
What? I thought it's only in America. Soon it's going to be in Indonesia too. We must be of strong faith even more. Nothing can stop the words of God. You know, this is the starting of that movie by Denzel Washington, The Book of Eli. This is crazy, folks.
So much different than we've been taught.
There was once a civilization that was wiped out because it threatened the profits of the oil industry. The Tartarian Empire was a society where they had discovered ancient knowledge about farming atmospheric energy. They incorporated special coils into all of their architecture, and their entire society was powered for free.
Right.
They had also discovered how to manipulate frequencies and move objects, which allowed them to build beautiful architecture. This is the same technology that the ancients used to build the pyramids. This society was far better than what we have today, as free energy allowed for people to focus less on work and more on creating a strong society. These people flourished for years until they tried to spread their technology. The oil oligarchs recognized that free energy threatened the profits they could make from oil. For years, they slowly destroyed the society and rewrote history as if they never existed. This technology was hidden and is now likely located in the Vatican archives, along with tons of other advanced knowledge.
Architecture does seem to be moving backwards.
Not flatbread.
The Vatican and Smithsonian Institute have so much knowledge about our true history locked away.
What are you trying to do in the first place?
Originally, I just set out to make a fancy Jacob's ladder, and this was like what it turned out to be.
A lot of people don't know what a Jacob's ladder is. Tell them what it is.
Simply, in a nutshell, it's two metal rods with a spark going up in between it.
He decided that if he got enough electricity together, he could build a time machine, because there is the concept that if you're going to do it, it's going to require an enormous amount of energy.
Yeah, until it got roughly 20,000 volts.
20,000 volts?
Yeah.
So you went from 110 to 20,000?
Yeah, roughly. Right above it, there was a regular heat signature, but it was like almost kind of like circular shaped in the center. See, I didn't know what this thing was, and it was like, I don't know, I just got the notion to throw a screw in it to see like what it did.
So you threw a screw into the circular area?
I've talked to a couple of physicists, but they call it a vortex, but...
All right, you threw it into what we'll call the vortex.
Yeah.
All right, what happened to the screw?
I threw it in there, and I didn't see it after that.
It disappeared?
Yeah, roughly. It's like it freaked me out. At first, I thought I was seeing things. He did one or two things. It went half a second into the future, and then it caught up with it, or it made like a real intense magnetic field.
I've interviewed the people who did the Philadelphia experiment, Michael.
That's what the Montauk Project is.
You're messing with the same sort of stuff.
But I figure if I make a bigger one to send it farther, that way I could really like tell if it's like really like if I was like sending it through time or if I was just sending it through an intense magnetic field.
In order to get enough voltage and current, you needed a big transformer. Power company has big transformers.
Yeah.
Really nice ones.
Yeah.
How did it dawn on you to borrow several of the power company's transformers?
I was originally going to buy them, like there's a transformer company in Kansas City that makes them for the power company.
Well, there was an idea.
I could have like saved my money and bought those, but those are expensive.
So you got the transformers to your house. You hooked up to the power coming into your home?
Yeah.
According to the story, you had two big poles on your porch. Is that correct?
Yeah, 3/8-inch metal rods, roughly 4 feet.
Oh, that would have made a big spark.
Yep. Yeah, I hooked up the smallest one that I could hook up without, like, overloading the cable and causing a fire.
What happened?
Just that in itself is just like a giant Jacob's ladder.
When you did this, according to the newspaper, you blacked out or browned out portions of your whole town. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was like overloading the power grid because I was drawing more power than I thought it was. A lot of those people's television sets are ruined and stuff like that because I was like drawing so much power, and it was normally at between 110 and 120 volt outlet, but they were estimating I was like bringing it down to like 80 and 90 volts.
That is damaging to electronic gear.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I moved from Stanbury because half that time once my head on a pole, I have the feeling.
Now you're a free man again, out of the pokey, and ready to begin experiments I've just learned all over again. You're going to do this again, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's say that you produced a time machine, Michael, and you actually managed to go either forward or reverse in time. What would you use it for?
Heck, there's possibilities are endless. Pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
So
the Y-Files on YouTube did a good episode on this. Check it out. The Y-Files.
Saudi Arabia just experienced another horrible storm, and they experienced severe flooding, and look what the results were. Fish is falling out of that sky. Why is that fish so soft like that? fish is falling out of the sky, y'all. What? What is going on? Bro, I just showed y'all a video of something falling out of the sky in Indonesia, and now fish falling out of the sky in Saudi Arabia. Did y'all see the storm in Saudi Arabia though? Look at that, y'all. Oh my goodness. Do you see how powerful that water is? Oh my, bro, Saudi Arabia is getting it. Wow. This is, what a time to be alive, man. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So what do you think happens when those fish fall out of the sky? Because we've seen this a couple of places. We've seen this in Australia, China, I believe Indonesia as well.
No.
And now it's happening in Saudi Arabia. So what do you think that's about, y'all? Is the waters above mixing with the waters below? I mean, there's a reason why the sky is blue, you know what I'm saying? And ships not only fly in the sky, but ships coast on the ocean as well too. They cruise on the ocean. So again, what do y'all think is going on here when we see fishes down here? This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during this interesting times. Please let us know what you guys think about this. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. Let's get this shift. Peace in.
It happens at the time of Moses too in the desert. Fish falls from the sky. The weatherman be like, the cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Man, I wish money can fall from the sky too.
Biskuit? Oh, dara, daga ba biskuit? Oh, daga biskuit diha. Pag-iulot naman ni mo yung tubig. Minsan man mag-get pa si mami tubig. Sige, get sa si mami tubig ha.
Yeah, okay. Video editing 101. On the first one, look at the clock in the background. One is covered by the curtains and the other is not.
Eat 3 meals a day, that is gluttony. 3 meals a day is just absurd, y'all. 3 meals a day is the craziest shit I ever heard in my life. And we used to follow these things, y'all. We used to follow these meal plans. 3 meals a day, and you only having how many bowel movements? Where do you think this stuff is going? It's not just staying in your gut. It is leaping. It's seeking into your bloodstream. It's seeking into your lymphatic system. It is seeking into your connective tissues. It is literally messing with the exchange of nutrients and oxygen and carbon dioxide and phytonutrients to the cells. Most of this stuff is stopping sun penetration. You know, sunlight needs to penetrate the tissues, go beyond the tissues with near infrared light, and then penetrate inside the cells. And this is what helps actually fold your amino acids. You can't even get that with certain meat consumption because you got flesh on top of unnatural flesh on top of unnatural flesh. Well, you are not made to eat meat. It's killing you. But look.
My mother and I, we have 6 hours window of eating every day, 12 p.m. To 6 p.m. We can eat big portion during that time, usually like 2 times. And at night, we only eat a slice of papaya. My mother is 78 years old, active, she likes to walk. A month ago, she did 3 days fasting, no food, no water, with her church friend.
I've had this video for a while, but I've been scared to post it because what they might do to me. I usually post at least once a month, so if I don't see or if you don't see any posts from me, you know that they got to me. But I was at the museum and I saw this where this Egyptian artifact where everything that we're meant to see is all properly intact, and any details that we're not meant to see was chiseled off. Now, if you notice any regular human being, birds, boats, things like that, all properly intact and in perfectly good condition, the regular human being right there. Now, if you look beside it, there's a much larger being. You can see the feet, the legs, and the body. Everything was chiseled off, and you can see the head is like a lizard shape or crocodile shape or whatever, and any details about it was chiseled off. So they're hiding our history from us. I don't know who they are, but if I'm onto something, they might come after me. If you know any detail about this, maybe you can comment or stitch this video and explain. But as you can see, clearly everything that we're meant to see was properly intact, and anything that we're not meant to see, we're all chiseled off by I don't know who. Any details about it, like you can see the regular things, all there. But the other stuff that we're not meant to see, we're all chiseled off.
Wow. The Vatican is a good place to start. They've covered up so much of our history.
Cat rats. These glassy feline rodent hybrids belong to a multi-generational colony residing in the Walnut Street Post Office in Corning, New York. Approximately 80 of these adaptable creatures have made their home among the stacks of mail and parcels that pass through the building each day. Cat rats are social animals and spend their days playing, eating, and lounging alongside post office employees during normal operating hours. As cat rats show no interest in hunting mice, their diet primarily consists of food provided to them by workers, local shelters, and Corning residents. However, at night the colony has been observed leaving the post office
so
to
cute.
disappear into the surrounding area. As evidenced by found remains, it appears as though cat rats use the cover of night to stalk and hunt the local coyote population purely for sport. This particular USPS location has one of the highest employee retention rates in the country. Hygiene is an issue that is reportedly being addressed. This has been a public service announcement from the Ministry of Latent Places.
This is AI face with a vintage effect, but they seem chill. I'm naming it Stinky.
What are you doing if you're in public and somebody hits your kid? That's exactly what happened to a father and his daughter in the Miami library. This woman hit his 10-year-old little girl. The father walked his daughter to the bathroom in the library, and while she was washing her hands, that 37-year-old woman slapped her in the face. The daughter rushed out of the bathroom crying, and when she told her dad what had happened, he walked up and slapped the woman right back. There are very few circumstances under which I think it's okay for a man to hit a woman. I've never hit a woman in my life, but test me when it comes to my kid, and you're gonna find out the hard way. I don't care if you're a woman, I don't care if you're a cop, I don't care if you're a judge, I don't care if you're God himself. I am a father, and my main duty in life is to protect my children. Now that being said, I do believe that it's necessary for it to be a measured response. This woman open hand slapped that little girl, and the father open hand slapped the woman back. And the cops agreed with that man. The woman was arrested and she's facing charges for assaulting the child, but the father, he isn't facing any charges at all. But what do you guys think? Was this father wrong for putting hands on that woman? Let me know down there in the comments.
I've cast charges. No one lay hands on my children or any child in my presence, period. You can't hit me, I won't probably hit you back. But I heard in Canada, if you defend yourself or your loved ones, you're going to jail. Is that right?
If you press right here, is it painful?
All right, folks. I'm going to end our video with this coming clip. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make a better content. You can also buy me a coffee or support me on Patreon if you like. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching. Peace and God bless.
If it's painful, it's maybe a swollen lymph node, and a swollen lymph node will block the drainage for your sinuses, but also will block the veins and put some pressure on the veins, and that can give you a tension headache, or maybe pressure to your sinuses. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you drain this lymph node so you can get pain-free. All right, my name is Rune Aabø, and now I'm going to show you how you drain this lymph node. Make sure you subscribe so you can learn even more how I do this and how you can learn how to drain your lymph nodes and regulate the fluid flow. But all the magic in my videos is regulating fluid flow, because pain is just unregulated fluid flow. So go in with your thumb like this, squeeze it, drain upwards, and then you can squeeze that lymph node, gets smaller, and will not put pressure on your sinuses or pressure on your nerves and veins. And you can squeeze it like this, and if it's not tender anymore, that lymph node gets smaller, and maybe you can feel, oh, the pressure in my head is so much better now, because I think headache and tension headache is only fluid, unregulated fluid flow. So you need to drain those lymph nodes. All the smallest passage you need to drain, open up, so the fluid flow gets normal. So headache, I think, is, if you need to check your neck also, because if your neck is tender, you can go like this, or you can turn your head around. If it's painful on this side or this side, it's unregulated fluid flow to your jaw. Check your jaw and check your lymph node like I showed you. Drain that lymph node and check, squeeze that masseter muscle, pinch this neck muscle like this, pinch it, and then you get optimal fluid flow to your head, and maybe your tension headache is gone. So make sure you subscribe if you want to learn more hacks, and comment if this worked for you. My passion in life is to help you get pain-free. And all the videos I'm showing you comes from a treatment called lymphatic treatment. And I have 2,500 clients every year on my bench. As you can see, I'm a muscle therapist. Thank you for watching, and keep watching if you want to learn more. Thank you.